Hello and welcome everyone to Voice of the NONnation, episode 5, Thursday, April 27th. John, how we doing?
Oh, we're doing good this week. This was this was another wild week, wasn't it?
It was a wild week. It's been a very, very busy week. Lots of stuff going on, lots of progress being made. But yeah, wild week in the markets as well. A little bit of a scare there earlier in the week. I saw we were starting to dump. I don't know where we're at today, but yeah, it's been a crazy week. Never a dull
Well,
moment in
have you not been
the
looking at the
markets.
charts the past couple of days?
I have not. Let's go to ultrasound money. Let's kick this. Let's kick this off. Let's go to ultrasound money. Let's
We're
check
going
it
to
out.
ultrasound.
Welcome
All right,
everyone. Welcome non-nation citizens. Welcome Ethereans. Welcome to those who are just curious about crypto. Welcome to the show.
we got a great show here. We're talking about hacks. We're talking about the charts. We're talking about audits, and we're going to talk about the non-nation split, the big Treasury split that's
Ooh,
coming up here.
yeah,
But yeah,
definitely,
let's go look.
definitely.
So ultrasound, I have this up 24/7. We are sitting at ETH is just over 1900. I don't know if that's higher or lower than where it was for you the other day.
That's higher. I
It's
think I was
higher?
around 1815, 1820 the other day. So that's
Okay.
good.
Well,
Yeah, okay, good.
I got a chart I want to show you then, and I want to get your reaction on it. But yeah, we've been
Let's
sitting.
do it.
I think there was one thing really impressive here. We're on a 15-day streak here. So if anyone doesn't know what
Yeah.
this is the number of days and the number of blocks that we've been above what they're dubbing the ultrasound barrier, which is just
Hmm.
the gas price needed to have deflationary. Uh,
Deflationary, right?
yep. So for 15 days straight, sometimes, when you in active periods, you get this of, a number of blocks. We're now over 100,000 blocks over 2 weeks of every single block being above the ultrasound barrier. So we've been deflationary with
Yep.
ETH for 2 weeks solid now,
Right.
which is
Yep.
ultrasound money, baby.
That's right. That's what it's all
It
about.
is.
Deflationary, you know? That's good.
And then, okay,
Um,
so here's
yeah.
I pulled up the chart. I pulled up the ETH chart, and I want to get your live reaction to what's going up here. Okay, you ready for this?
All right. I'm ready. You've been hyping
What
me up. I'm
happened?
ready.
This is ETH on the 1 week chart.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were
Right.
down a little earlier in the week. What happened here?
Right. Oh my God. That's crazy. It's almost like, it's just a very speculative market, Maybe we had some, nah, I was going to say maybe we had some new entrants because of the Pepe craze, but I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, that's quite a spike, right? I mean,
The
jumping
spike seemed
$125.
the spike seems sort of natural. Actually, this felt almost organic going up. What didn't feel organic was whatever this
Going
was.
down. Right, right.
So
Yeah.
th- th- this was there's been some speculation on what caused this. At the
Mm.
time, people were saying, "Oh, an Arkham alert went out. The U.S. government is moving Bitcoin that it seized from like the Silk Road and some other places,
Oh, right, right,
and we're
right.
going to dump it."
Yeah, right. And you know how I know that? Because a ERC Ponzi popped up, Silk Road ERC. I'm not gonna, I shouldn't even say the name,
No.
but of course, an ERC20 project popped up on DEX Tools, Silk Road ERC20, and
Yep.
tried to take advantage of the news cycle. So,
Yep.
yeah, you could just get all your news and the general sentiment of the market by, the sniffer and seeing which, new token projects, new Ponzi's pop up at any given time. It's pretty
Really, really
wild.
though.
So, and did you see Zach XBT's tweet yesterday? By the way,
Which one?
so 115 rugs over the last 40 days by the same person with all the proceeds going back to the same address using Coinbase to try and obfuscate their actions, things like that.
Was it Coinbase or was it
115 that they
KuCoin?
know about. It's Coinbase.
Okay, okay.
Coinbase. Yep, 115 rugs in 40 days just by one person. Just the same trick over and over.
Just trying to
Trying to exactly just trying to hustle and capitalize on the degen gambling scene and the FOMO that people have. Trying to people who try to basically pull a Pepe, right? Get in under
yeah,
100K, and then that bad boy shoots to 150 million, right? And if
yeah,
you threw $1,000 in there, well, then you just turned $1,000 into 1.5 million or something like that,
yeah.
right? So
If you can cash out.
I guess like you were saying last week, and it's yeah, if you can cash out, if there's liquidity, and in Pepe there was definitely the liquidity, but you're right, in a lot of these you can't get out before they
No.
get rugged, right? Like
Mm-mm.
what happens here every time, right? The liquidity gets pulled, things like that. Um, but it just goes back to what you were talking about last week. Degen's gonna degen,
They
excuse me,
are.
and, I think until we have, a change in that, and until people start flocking to real tech and decentralization in real projects, NONnation, then we're gonna continue to see this. We got skewered by John Oliver last weekend. I mean,
Did,
absolutely skewered
did you
by
watch the
him. I
whole
don't know.
thing?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I have been scared to watch the whole thing. You and I were talking about earlier. I watched a little clip of it, and based on what you told me, like, I'm pretty worried to watch the rest of it. It's like sometimes, it's like
I will
you
say
feel
that
like,
it was cathartic in a way. And if anyone listening hasn't seen it yet, this was John Oliver's piece, Cryptocurrencies 2, and they walk
yep,
through uh
yep,
they walk through SBF and the FTX downfall, Terra Luna. They talk about
Terra
that
Luna
and
was
its
in there. Yep,
downfall. And then
yep.
the bank, the crypto bank, which one
Was that Signature? No, that was
no.
Signature's part, but yeah, Silicon Valley, SVB.
No, it wasn't SVB. It wasn't the real bank. It was the crypto only bank.
Oh,
Kraken's
the
coming to mind.
River. Yeah, I
It's
think
not
I know which
Kraken.
one you're talking about. I think
Yeah,
I know which one you're talking about. Yep.
Voyager.
Hmm.
Voyager was it Voyager? May have been Voyager.
Yeah, Voyager was just bought by Binance, I believe.
No, Binance just backed out of the deal.
Did they
They
really?
backed out of it. Yeah,
Oh
let's
my
see if I
God.
can go
As a
find it here.
previous customer from of Voyagers, which I didn't really use the platform, but I had signed up, early 2021 or late 20. I got a notice last week that, hey, Binance, US is purchasing us. If you want to opt out on us sending them your data, fill out this form. Of course, I fill out the form. I like to, as keep my data as private as possible, things like that. But that's interesting to hear that they backed out.
Yeah, here I just pulled it up. This is Coin Market Cap. They back out of the 1.3 billion dollar deal.
Wild. I
No,
wonder what the story of that is.
you would think at this point
Regulatory pressure? Regulatory pressure?
maybe.
Oh, there it is. The deal faced scrutiny from regulators in both countries. It
Okay.
goes back to that senator asking Mr. Gensler last week, true or false, has it become harder for crypto banks and platforms to access banking services since you've been
Yeah.
doing your job? This is exactly what they're doing, right? With choke point. They're finding the different areas that they can apply pressure, uh, things like this. So maybe the regulatory stuff is all getting a little too hot under the collar for CZ, and he didn't want any additional scrutiny right now with
I,
everything that's going on. So
I guess so.
um,
This is big news here though.
yeah,
This looked like it
it's
was
unfortunate for the customers who were probably gonna see some relief
yeah.
on some of their positions, that they held with Voyager being bought out like that, you know. But hey, they're protecting consumers,
Yeah.
Sorry, don't mind my sarcasm.
Well, we will see what happens now. Binance was sort of the one that could bail them out. I don't know if there's any other players left who could do that.
Yeah, interesting.
So
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully they get some sort of resolution. I wanted to go
Yeah,
back real
hopefully
quick
for their
though.
customers. Yeah.
There's also so we were talking, the Silk Road and the Arkham alert. Turns out
Yeah.
Arkham has had to come out and say, okay, the reason people got that alert was because we fixed something that sent old alerts out. These were not
Oh,
new
okay.
alerts. And furthermore, they lay out the timeline here, and it's pretty convincing that the plummet in the market happened just before 8 p.m. UTC.
Right.
The alerts got sent out a few minutes after that. So it may have just been a giant coincidence that the alerts got sent out during this dip. That Do we have an explanation for it? Does anyone know
I
why the
have
market
no idea.
dipped that
That's
way then?
interesting.
I,
No,
I
I'm
have yet
trying
to
to keep
see a
my
good
sanity
explanation.
by not watching price charts these days. Helps me sleep better at night. I'm here for the tech, in it for the long term, so I don't
Sleep?
watch the
What's
day
that?
to day. So no, so that's interesting though. I would be curious to see what people were saying for the cause of the dip, if not that. Did I
I
read that
don't
right?
know.
Like sends out alerts for all transactions above 10K?
That was
10K?
I think these were
That might have been good
customers.
in 2015,
I think these were like
2014.
customers who set custom alerts, and they didn't get
Mm,
sent out initially because of a bug that they had. Arkham fixed the bug,
gotcha.
and this like backlog of alerts went ahead and finally triggered,
I
and then they
see.
got
Okay.
posted everywhere. These were apparently like alerts that like market watchers had set for some of them, and it spooked everyone right at the time. I
Yeah.
all the watcher guru, I think, was tweeting it out. Some of those big ones saying like
Right.
the government's moving Bitcoin to exchanges right now and dumping it. Like, so I still don't know. I haven't gotten a good explanation for what happened or why.
That is interesting. That's very interesting. Um, hmm. Okay. Well, we'll have to follow that and see how that shakes out. Speaking of all that, and speaking of big players in the market, and who this regulatory battle, things like that. Did you see the tweet from Coinbase on Tuesday?
Which one?
Let me pull it up
I
here.
saw that
It was it was
they
very poignant, and as a Star Trek fan, it really really resonated with me. Really resonated with me. Let me see if I can share my screen here.
is it their shield?
That's right.
Their shield?
But
Okay.
yeah, yep. What did they say?
Well, I had to ask.
They
I
said,
just
actually, let me see here. Let me see if I have, I need to take this off real quick. But
my
basically,
my shield just minted. It's been sitting in the queue here for the last hour. I just got the confirmation that it's through. So
shields up,
shields up.
shields up. And everybody who has watched Star Trek or Star Wars knows what shields up means, right? And it's time to play defense, right? And
Yeah,
we're not going to be taking the easy pot shots and everything like that, and not fighting back anymore. I think a lot of the players, and especially Coinbase, right? I mean, just had the best of intentions and thought, hey, if we play this straight up, then we're going to be treated straight up. And then they came to find out that no, that's not the case at all.
yeah,
They
and
never had any intention of playing straight with them.
right, and they publicly they posted their response to the Wells notice they got a month ago. They posted that on their
Yep.
Twitter just yesterday or today
Yep.
now, and
Right.
they're getting ready to get into this. This is a battle now, and
Yep.
Coinbase is sort of taking the lead for for the U.S. crypto users here to get into
Yeah,
this and say, hey, SEC, we're here to
yep,
play. Like, come on, let's go.
right.
We'll take you to
I
court if
need
we
to
got
get a
to, you know?
exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Look forward to litigating it and sending it up the chain if they need to, all the way to the Supreme Court. So I admire Coinbase's actions in their position. I need to put a shield on my face. So
I gotta go. I
it's a
gotta
good
throw one on
reminder.
mine here. I
What
got
did you
the
mean by
NFT though now.
minting? What's Oh, was there an NFT to mint?
There's a Shield NFT. I think it's a free mint with just a small
Let's go.
small fee
Tell
for
me it's
the
on
hosters.
layer two. Tell me it's on layer two.
No, it's on mainnet.
It's
I
on
think it
mainnet.
cost me $7 or $8 or something. Even at current gas.
Okay.
That's why it sat in the
Okay.
mempool for so.
Oh my God. So as you know, and as you know, delegation channel members know, we launched our first proposal this weekend, and you were helping, babysit my sanity through it. Gas this weekend was just crazy. Oh my God. In the prop was stuck for close to 3 days, and finally, I looked at the priority fee and not just Guai, and it was just a whole mess. But gas has been tough. I am glad
Yeah,
for the deflationary, and aspect of it. But man, gas, just like
yeah,
last week we were talking about, reminds me of DeFi summer 2020. Where just gas is just it's been painful. So luckily we have a lot of options these days when it comes to some stuff that we can get done on optimism and layer twos and things like that. But it's been a tough week with gas. Another tough week with gas.
yeah. Tough week for gas, pushing people to layer twos, and some of the dexes on
Yep.
layer twos not doing so well. Well,
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's do it.
so the big story there is there was a dex on L2. I think it was on a zksync here.
zksync, right?
zksync.
Merlin, right?
This
Is that
is
right?
yep. Here it
Merlin.
is. Merlin
Cool
DEX.
name. Cool
It was a very
name.
cool name. Uh,
Yep.
total rug pull here.
Oof. Oof.
What ended up happening? So the reason this made a splash. This was I think here it's sub $2 million. So it was a good chunk
That
of money.
if there's a silver lining, at least it's that amount and not 200 million.
Right. It seems like this was pretty close near launch. So this Dex had just launched. It was a fork of some other Dex. They launched on
Yep.
zksync, and pretty quickly after they started to attract some sort of people providing liquidity, it rugged. And this was some sort of back end devs from Serbia who had an infinite approval within the liquidity pool contracts or so. And it
Wow.
was very quickly found after the hack that this was a pretty glaring flaw that made the rug super simple to pull off, and that
Yeah.
it was definitely some sort of team. Now the I think the main team is pushing it off to some side or back end devs that they had hired from Serbia, but I don't know the legitimacy of any of that.
Right. Are they a non, or are they? And
They
really,
were
that
on,
shouldn't.
yeah,
That shouldn't. Okay.
yeah,
You hate to ask that question and have it figure into the equation, but my curiosity gets the best of me.
yeah. I
Human.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the reason that this made a big splash, as opposed to just another Dex rug or some other rug pool, is this was audited by Certick, which last cycle was like the go-to auditing firm. This was the big
Yeah. They were
one.
like the gold standard, weren't they?
Yeah, if you
I
had
mean,
the
if you
Certick
if you
audit, you
wanted some
were.
cred for some audit, you would
Mhm.
go to Certic to get the audit, right?
So this was audited. They announced that they were waiting to launch until the audit came through. The audit came through, and it was posted. And as far as I can tell, the only thing that they pointed out in the audit was that it was a little bit centralized, but not,
Right.
hey, the devs can totally rug all your liquidity. And it just feels like
Right. Right.
post hack, people on Twitter found this like almost immediately. Like the social auditors looked at this and said, hey, here's your problem.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it was not like red flagged in the Certick report.
So
So,
two things stick out in my mind here, right? Number one is I would love to know what Certic's postmortem or their response to this incident would be. And number two, right? Like it says here at the bottom of the article, right? The incident highlights the need for DeFi platforms to focus on the quality of audits and their own watertight designs to earn the public's trust, right? And
yep,
we have talked about this before with, you know, the way that people build in our space, right? And these leaning Tower of Pisa solidity contracts with code on top of code on top of code that may not be, they don't have a good foundation, right? They're just forks of forks of forks, things like that. It just goes to show that, you have to have good code. You know what I mean? You have to have code that is logical and that is, written properly and makes sense. And, the one thing that I will say is that, man, we have some really good code.
got good code.
Like that is one thing that, like, you know what I mean? Like we could market ourselves just on that. Like, come get some damn good code. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to Vasa, right? And shout out to Ali for the protocol design, right? Like, we've got some damn good code. And so, hey, I think that, the factory system sorry, I shouldn't call it factories anymore. Um, but you know what I mean? Like, it just goes to show that, when you have a solid foundation, right? In social ops, things like that, like it's a much better way to build.
Right. So, yeah, what do you think with are people going to be able to trust Certick audits here going forward? I think I saw somewhere this was like 32 different hacks, and they're at like a 1%. It
Right,
was near 1%. I don't want to quote that exactly, but near 1% of what
right.
they audit has been hacked or so.
Yeah, I mean, it would be difficult to predict what's going to happen from here without knowing why this keeps on happening, or if this is a specific, exploit that's known to certain functions or certain contracts, things like that. But certainly not looking good for Certic. And
Mhm.
I mean, as we have said, even throughout since last year, I mean, the audit industry that has popped up, right, in our industry, a lot of times it's just kind of like a money making thing, and like they're not doing the job that they're certainly being paid for,
No, and
and things
audits
like
aren't
that. And
cheap.
audits are not cheap. They take a lot of
No.
time, and I don't know why they take so much time if they're not doing that great. You know what I mean? But and that's something that we have maintained for a long time, is that in a lot of ways, right, decentralizing your audits and hackathons and social audits and things like that, and, and testing, um, in instances, things like that, is a lot safer than just going through a centralized audit process with somebody who maybe isn't experienced. Like, you have an auditor of the company's experience level, things like that. You don't know who's working on it. You don't know the results you're going to get. And a lot of times we see protocols up and running for 5, 6, 7 months, and then the right person comes along and notices something about the design, and then they spend 2 weeks planning an exploit, and then boom, right? And then it's the
Yeah, I
funds are
think
gone.
I think
So
Bueller, it was 8 or 11 months or so that it was out in the wild
right,
before it got caught. It's
right,
crazy. It's
right. And who is the kid from Canada, the 17-year-old or the 19-year-old, that, and I can't remember which, what he did last year. I can't remember which protocol it was, but you know, the basically, uh, yeah, it's same type of situation. The protocol had been live for 6, 7 months. It was extremely popular. Nobody had seen the exploit, and then all of a sudden, the right person comes along, plans the right operation, gets gets the team to confirm a couple of things about the design that they were looking for, and he pretended to be like a white hat. was helping or something like that.
Yeah.
But it just happens. So um, yeah, we'll see. I'm interested now. I'm curious now. I'm going to go dig up and follow and see what Certick said in response to all of this. So certainly not helping their business to have to be having these hacks happen and things like that.
Right. Especially one like this where it's like it was there was just like this infinite approval that was in there that
Right.
was people could pretty quickly after the fact go in and say, "Yep, this let them rug right here. This is the thing."
Right.
One line.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
things like that is going to hurt their reputation. Big complex hacks you can sort of have an arm's distance from and say, well, this was very intricate or something got added later. This was like a fresh protocol,
Right.
just audited one line that let this
Yeah.
happen. That looks bad. That looks really really bad.
You're right. There's exploits and then there's exploits like that. That is how I
Right.
do it. There's levels to this stuff, man. That's crazy.
uh
So
but
let's move
can
on to
we
some more
say
positive.
can we say that we're not using Certic? Is that something we can say? Just say we're not using
I
them.
think we're not using Certec. I think we can say that.
Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully so. So, all right, now let's bring up a topic that is near and dear to my heart, to your heart, and we have the split coming up for delegations, right? This will likely be the last split. We'll see.
Yeah.
For yeah,
For how it currently
before
works.
everything moves to entities. So, for those of you who are in the channel, who participate in the non-viral marketing channel, the split is coming up, and as the work that we're doing, and we will be in there over the next couple of days. By the way, showing you the work that we're doing and laying it all out, so you know very well what you're supporting. But the work is very important, and we cannot continue to do our work, and we can't do the best work that we can do without your support. So we thank you for going in there and for staking for non-viral delegation and showing us your support that allows us to get these marketing materials ready for the launch and for the big push. So um, if you're watching and you're in the channel, or if you're not in the channel and you are a soon holder, please, make your way over to the DApp and over into guilds, into delegations, and stake for non-viral delegation. I think we're still called EMA in there. I should go in and do that today. But so I think it's still Ethereum's marketing agency. Uh, stake for us, Ethereum's marketing agency or non-viral delegation, and so that we can get a healthy chunk of the split and continue to do the work that we have in motion, because we've got a lot going on and a lot in progress right now. We've had some
Yeah.
some really cool conversations and results this week, things like that. So we've got a dozen different things going at once, and strategy and marketing plans and things like that. And so it's going well, but we do need your support. So passion plea, please go in there and stake for us. All right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna get off the soapbox now.
and I'll just take a minute to sort of explain what the delegation how the delegation system works just a little bit,
Yeah,
how staking
yeah,
works,
please.
how this all works. So I have
I'm gonna pop off while I grab my power adapter. My bad.
yep. So for everyone watching, the way staking works for delegations in the Ethereum's OS slash non ecosystem is if you hold the token, which is currently soon, you can stake it for a delegation, get a wrapped version of soon back that's for a particular delegation, and that shows that you are supporting that delegation. It's one-sided
Right.
staking. You get your voting tokens back that you can use to vote both in the delegation's proposals as well as they're a token. You can use them anywhere in the DeFi ecosystem you want. I know at one point people had pools for delegation tokens uh, against OS as
Yes.
very low fee swap pools to sort of help facilitate swapping between sort of wrapped and unwrapped tokens. But they're tokens. You can do whatever you want with them. But as you wrap your soon or your non for the delegation, it increases the amount of money they'll get in the quarterly revenue split. So I have a
Right.
graph pulled up here of what it looks like. It's from
Oh,
June.
nice.
But this is
Very
this is
cool.
sort of our full economics engine, and you can ignore large parts of this. This is where we're getting our income from inflation, from business
Yeah.
models, as well as the investment fund. But it all goes into this center part here, the Treasury splitter. And once a
Right.
quarter, the funds get released over to delegation grants. Delegations get 40% of the ETH from the ecosystem here, which is quite a bit,
Huge
quite a
chunk.
bit, huge.
Huge chunk.
uh, the root treasury gets 8%. That's for the protocol as a whole. Dividends farming gets
Yeah.
27%, and the investment fund gets 25%, which buys the tokens that are set for the investment fund, as
Yeah.
well as OS, which gets burned when it gets bought. OS being soon now and will soon be non in this chart. But
Yep.
yeah, this treasury split occurs once a quarter, and it doesn't use snapshot. It's entirely on chain, but you can sort of think of it like a snapshot. As soon as
Right.
somebody goes and hits treasury split, this checks. Okay, delegation A has 30% of the tokens. Delegation B has 30%. Delegation C has 40%, and it divides this fraction of ETH set for the delegations among those three in those ratios.
Right.
And that's how it works in the current system. In the future
Yep.
system, it's actually going to be a little different. If you guys caught this during Bilderberg, in the
Yeah.
future version, the ETH for the quarter sort of gets thrown into another contract temporarily, and then delegations farm it throughout the quarter. So rather than this being a single snapshot, it looks at the votes at one particular block. It works more like farming, where it's going to look at the
There we go.
tokens per block. There's going to be
Yeah.
some fraction of that ETH that gets delegated every single block, and then delegations
Yeah.
can tap into their share of it throughout the quarter. And the reason for doing this is it incentivizes staking for a delegation over time rather
Right.
than at one particular moment. Delegations have to be more active. Your voting power
Right.
matters throughout the entire quarter, as opposed to
Right.
right now, your votes matter for. I think it's technically 2 blocks. I think there's a block delay in there, but 1 or 2
Right.
blocks. You
Yeah.
can be staked for 30 seconds and have the same impact as someone who's staked all quarter. So
Yeah. As delegation leaders, I think we can say like, we appreciate that. I
it's a
appreciate
good
that change.
change. Yeah.
It's a great change. I think you feel the same. I remember during Bilderberg when you stopped our heart with that. Oh, the delegation are doing so good. We're gonna remove them.
They're gone.
They're gone. That was funny. But yeah, no, I think it's a much better model. I think it addresses some game theory things behind it with the rush in and the rush out for the vote and things like that.
Yeah.
So, I think as delegation leaders, we can both say we appreciate that, and
Yeah.
I think that, and that's really the goal with entities and with delegations and participation in general, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing that you and I have talked about recently, and we've kind of lamented the fact that we haven't been able to really been giving the weekly update that we want to be doing on Fridays because things have been so busy with the startup activities and things like that. But and being in the thread every day and things like that. But that is certainly what we are working towards, to have that daily involvement and
Mm-hmm.
participation, and at the bare minimum once a week a comprehensive update on the work that was done and the value that was provided to the holders, for their support and staking their tokens. So
Yeah.
I like the move to the new system for sure.
Yeah. And it's going to give people who have smaller voting powers, fewer tokens, a lot more power in a way,
Right.
because there's
Right.
big wallets that move in and out of the delegation
Yep.
sometimes,
Yep.
to sort of
Yep.
game this
Right.
split. And the smaller wallets, if they're staked for the whole time or something, this encourages them to just say, "Hey, if I stake for a long time, I
Yeah.
I I balance out, this in and out rapid thing. And it's going to be
Yep.
interesting. I think it's also going to drive demand. You're going to want to have the token staked. You're going to want to be in the farms. You're going to want to be in the
Yeah.
bazaar.
Right.
You,
Participating in the whole
mhm.
economy. You know what I mean? It's a whole hyperstructure economy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it all works together. So absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for right now, though, we are in this snapshot style of
Yeah.
voting. The split is set to occur sometime on Monday. So if you're watching this when it comes
Yep.
out, that's 3 days. If you're watching it over the weekend, start of the week, maybe lower gas fees on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
So if you haven't already
Yeah.
staked for a delegation, over this weekend is going to be the perfect time to go ahead, get your soon, stake it for a delegation, get in there. We'd love if it was non-viral, but
Yes.
get in there, stake for a
Yep.
delegation, participate in the
Yep.
system, and
Right.
go from there.
Right.
This weekend's going to
Exactly.
be the time to
Exactly.
stake, and there'll be
Yep.
an announcement in the Discord tomorrow as well, saying, "Hey,
Right.
be doing this over the weekend. Take advantage of
Yep.
hopefully lower gas prices then, and participate
Right.
in our governance." This
Yep.
is this is the first
Yep.
delegation structure that I'm aware of in the whole
Yeah.
space. So
Yep.
it's
We hope to have speaking from non-viral's perspective, we hope to have, a kind of a comprehensive post or maybe some slides or something like that that shows, the direction that we're going, things like that, so people can understand exactly what they're staking for and supporting. So hopefully that all works out and aligns well with the split and everything. So thank you for speaking to that. Yeah. And a bit of sad news. Unfortunately, there was a scheduling conflict, kind of a misunderstanding. So Ollie couldn't jump on this episode like we had planned for last week. But hopefully we'll have them lined up for next week, and there won't be a scheduling snafu. So for those of you tuning in who are looking forward to Ollie jumping on or Tochi jumping on after last week's announcement at the end of the episode, apologies about that. But we'll look to have him on next week. And probably let's throw up something in the delegation channel, some questions for him or something like that.
yeah.
We can source some good questions for him or something. So
Yeah, we gotta. He wants in on this action. We're up here having fun every week, and
that's right.
he's talked to me and just been like, "Oh, that looks so cool! I want to be on there with you guys."
Yeah.
So it's
Right. Right.
we're
And
we're excited
many
to have him
guests to
too.
come as well. So
Oh yeah,
I think we're gonna, yeah, we're gonna look to have our first external guest here soon too. So um, fun times ahead, exciting times all throughout, the next couple of months in this project. So that's all I've got. How about you, John? Any parting thoughts?
oh, I think I'm good. I'm gonna go check out my Shield NFT from Coinbase as we get off, and
Yep,
I
I
got
need
to
to go.
figure
I
out
need
how
to go make it.
I got to figure out how to bridge my soon back from Optimism right now. So get that on
Ooh,
mainnet
yep,
for the delegation split coming up.
yep. Yep. And a reminder, if you have staked for any proposals in the past and you feel like you're missing some soon or some OS, make sure to go back to those proposals and withdraw, because I lost track of quite a, healthy bit of tokens on accident, and I was freaking out, and then I didn't realize that they were staked to a prop. So you've got to pull those
Mm-hmm.
manually. So remember to go back and do that. Hopefully, there's nobody out there as careless as I am with that kind of stuff, and they're keeping better tabs on on their positions. So yeah, so yeah, go out there, vote, and stake for the split, and we appreciate the support wherever it goes. So the participation is uh, great for the project all around. So we just encourage you to do that. So. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. That concludes episode 5. We will see you guys back here next week.